the Mastery Vivas, where I do one-on-one conversations with kids to do assessment, the oral exam. How to do that with 150 kids? That's the topic of today's episode. Welcome to the Reach Every Student podcast with me, your host, John Bergman. And today and yesterday, the last couple of days, I've been devoting considerable time to making these vision videos for my students. If you look back a couple of episodes, I talked about how I make an individual video for each kid and I cast a vision for them and I share my heart for them. And as a lot of them are seniors, and I say things to them like, I just can't wait to see who you're going to become. And then sometimes I'll say, I've got some old man advice for you. I noticed this about your life and I would encourage you to do this, or man, you're going to be a great engineer. I think that's something that you might want to lean into as you look into college, etc. What I'm noticing is I'm exhausted. Takes such emotional energy for me to, I think about each student, sometimes jot down a thought, and then I just record a raw video. And in the near term, I will be sending them out. I want to make all of them before I send any of them out. I'm about halfway done right now. And man, it takes a great toll on what I'm doing. So yeah, I'm exhausted, I'm sure. And this is April. And I know if you're going to do this kind of a thing, it's going to take a lot out of you and it's going to take a lot of time. But man, I'm telling you, it's the best thing I do all year. I've got so much relational cache that I've built over the course of the year. They're going to actually listen to this old man's voice. And then of course, last week I talked about, let's not dial it in. Let's not push the coast button. But today I know you're tired and you're saying, and I'm trying to sort of set you up for next year as you begin to want to use the Mastery Flip model. And the Mastery Flip model, remember, the first step is AI engines. So I had a conversation just minutes ago with one of our math teachers, and she said, I caught the kids cheating again with AI. They're taking pictures and they're doing quadratic formulas, algebra 1, and they're just cheating. What do I do? And I said, I think the only answer is the flipped classroom. And we can still assign homework, but it's this cheesy flip video. I said, but John, they're not going to watch my videos. And I said, yes, they will. Now you've got to hold them accountable and there's some steps, and this is where the Mastery Flip model, just in this age of AI where we're a high performing high school and the kids are still just like dialing it in. They're trying to just finish off the year by cheating, little suckers. And how do we combat that? And so remember, we've got 3 quick steps. There's the AI engine. This is where we can have AI help us with the pre-work, if you will. And then analog roots. In my classroom, it's all, here's the clipboard, right? And you can see all my check marks. I'm going to cover up some names and who's done work, and you can see who's done work and who hasn't real quickly. And I'm walking. And so then they're doing this work in the class. Don't let them do their homework at home almost, right? The hard stuff has to happen in the class. That's the analog roots. And then the third act is these Mastery Vivas. And so how do you do oral testing when you have lots and lots of kids? And I think the answer is lots of clumping. And depending, so like if you've got 3 kids who have mastered a topic, and so I'm thinking of my math teachers, like 3 kids have finished assignment 5 or 85 or whatever we're in right now. And then the students come and they've all assigned it. And then you say, quick, explain how you did number 3, explain how you did number 4, explain how you did number 5, in sort of a mathy type of a thing. Or quick, explain to me how the protagonist in this movie or in this a piece of literature, what is your opinion on it? What if the protagonist did this? You mentioned that the actual name of the, if Juliet had done this, well, how would that have changed things? I mean, there's so many quick little questions that you're going to have to do. And it's kind of rapid fire. Now, if you've got a smaller class, maybe you can go in more depth. It sort of depends on so many things. You can do this, but clump the kids. That's going to make it so much easier. And then what I do also, remember, I walk around the room so that they really love this. I'm juniors, seniors, high school. I come around with my marker. Here's my orange marker, and I just put the JB on the paper, right? JB. I just write the little JB. You can see it, and they love getting the little JBs, and they know they've completed, and they're happy, and they get their check mark, and then I give them the points and all that kind of stuff. Now, one thing I've been thinking about that I want to do next year is grading these mastery checks. I just give them the check. It's either yes, they get it, or no, they don't. Now, if a kid is totally not understanding, happened just minutes ago, I had a student who was trying to explain why we have summers and winters. It has to do with the tilt of the earth and all this kind of stuff and the solar density. And she just didn't get it. And I said, and I had to get to somebody else. I got to get to the students so I can do the conversations. And I could have continued to work with her, but I had a lot of students I needed to get to. And I said, you need to figure this out. I'll come back. And she did. And she worked with her friends. She opened up the textbook and she needed to go deeper. And so it was a good moment. So you've got to also figure out and limit how much time you spend with each kid, just because you only have so many minutes in the class, right? So you've got to kind of figure out what that's going to look like so that you can help your students, take responsibility. And again, this is so good for kids. It is working so well because they have to talk to me about science and explain using like scientific words about why this is. And sometimes they want to just sort of dial in and just say, it's because, like this one girl, it's the tilt of the earth. I said, yeah, but that's just incomplete. So figure it out. Bye. And it is so important for them to learn how to talk and defend. If they're using AI to cheat, like math teacher just minutes ago, then they can't explain it, right? And it's like, dude, you're not doing your own work and you aren't going to understand this. When it comes time to take the test or whatever you're going to do, however you're planning to hold them accountable, it's not going to go well for you. I know this is a big ask, and I'm going to say this, there are emerging tools right now. Let's say you can't get to all the students. I didn't get to all the students in the last block who were in this room just minutes ago, or about an hour ago now, I guess. And like one of the tools we use is called Flint K12, and you could have it do the check for you. I'm not totally comfortable with that. I want to do as many as I can with students, but maybe if you've got a super large class, it's like on this mastery check, the odd students, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, you're going to have, you're going to do the check with the AI, and then the even students are going to do a check with me. Or there's a lot of tools that are beginning to emerge. I'm actually beginning to work with one particular tool that I see a lot of promise with. It's not developed yet. It's in its sort of prototype stage. I think they're creating AI tools that could really help teachers do these mastery checks. And so the AI would do it, but make sure that whatever we do from AI perspective is done, it's human first. And so maybe it's just like take turns, right? You're going to work with whatever percentage, do the math in your class. You're going to spend, 4 minutes per kid, or maybe in little groups, and you're going to have these mastery checks, these Mastery Vivas, as we call them, with students. And then the other half is worked with one of these tools that will help them do this. And you're going to have to kind of design it. It's not that hard to do these things. Again, there's a tool that is coming on the market in just the next few months that I'm very excited about that might really address this specific issue. But I'm sure there are some other AI tools that you can help fashion. The Flint K12 one would work very well. Again, you may not have access to these tools, but surely at some point your district is going to get you access to some kind of an AI tool that will do these kinds of things. But even then, it's like, okay, I did this with 34 kids in a class. I don't know how to do it with 50. I had to shorten those up a lot more. Yeah. And then the last thing I want to say is so I alluded to this a minute ago, but I got distracted. One thing I'm thinking about doing next year is that if they get the main concept of a lesson via the mastery check, they get a 4-point scale. And then if I could take them to the next level and extend it, something that wasn't, say, in the textbook or in the main lesson, but like I'm thinking of, they maybe can describe the process of, or the how El Nino works. But then I'll say, now, how would that impact the weather in Houston? We live in Houston. Given the things we've learned about El Nino, can you take it to that next level? Even though maybe that content wasn't in the actual teaching, then they're having to extend it, and that's a 4, right? A mastery means you understand it well enough that you can explain sort of the next step. And so I've not done this. I've either just done, yes, you get it, no, you don't. And so I want to distinguish between, if you will, a 3 and a 4, and that's going to be my line. And if a kid doesn't get to a 3, I'm not okay with that. So they're going to have to continue to stay until they get a 3. I believe in mastery learning, and they need to get to at least a 3, if you will, base understanding. And if you get there, I'm fine with that. But I also want to give the kids an opportunity to do a 4, to really prove that they've mastered the concept. And that's kind of something I'm going to communicate to my students at the beginning of the year and explain in these conversations, they matter and I'm grading them. And to do a 3, this is what you have to get to, if you will, the base level understanding. But to get to a 4, you've got to be able to extend it. So you need to really be thinking deeply about this. And I'm going to provide, this is again, I'm spitballing right now, but I'm thinking I'm going to provide some AI tutors that can help them with the extended questions. So if you want to get a 4, maybe you want to like banter back with AI before class so that you can like take it to the next level and have the AI just go and ask them deeper questions and to prepare them for the live Mastery Viva with me, the teacher. So anyways, I know it's April and I'm talking about strategies for next year. I want you to put this in the back of your brain because this is something I know you can't make happen now. But if you could do anything, can I say this? These vision videos, you've got more relational cache right now than you ever will have with your students. The most important thing you could do today is to start making these. This will take you a lot of time and it will exhaust you. I'm telling you, it's exhausting to make these videos, emotionally exhausting. I mean, I almost cry sometimes with some of these students because I've seen them. Some of these students I've had for 3 years in a row. They had them as sophomores, juniors, seniors, and they're about to be launched into the world. And it's emotionally draining for me. But I'm telling you, the results I've seen over 7 years of doing this, it is the best thing I do. So go back a couple of episodes. This is episode 71. I don't know if it's 69 or 68, whatever. This will be the best thing you do all year if you take the time to do this. So thanks for listening. I really appreciate the faithful listeners. Speaking back to the Mastery Viva, I've had one teacher who's come to me and said, I'm going to do this. And one of my listeners said he cried when he watched that episode and he's going to do it for his students. So let me just say thank you to you guys who listen to this podcast. It means a lot to me that you care to listen to this old man teacher talk at you each and every week. So, hey, go out and reach every student. That's my heart, right? Is that we reach every student in every class, every day. Hey, John Bergman.